Hello, BookTube. I thought I'd make a video since it's been a day. It is morning here in West Michigan. It is 10:08 in the morning. It is it's not March. It's April the 2nd, 2017. It is a Sunday. It is the Christian Sabbath, the day of rest. Yeah, years ago, I was really into Sabbath keeping. I never was a strict Sabbath keeping, but we would go to church morning and evenings. My wife just left for church. She's a member of a local conservative evangelical Presbyterian church here. But yeah, so I'm sitting here writing in my diary. I'm on page 299 this morning. And I've been reading for morning devotions, Scripture as Real Presence, Sacramental Exegesis in the Early Church by Boersma. So I was reading that this morning. It's pretty interesting. And yesterday was a Saturday, and I volunteer at the local library used bookstore, the Book Nook. And while I was there, when I'm helping people with their purchases, I've been taking this book on Saturdays and reading it. This is John Maynard, Keynes, 1883 to 1946, Economist, Philosopher, and Statesman by Robert Skidelsky. I was reading that yesterday, and I'm still really enjoying it. Now there are parts in it. I'm around the year 1909. Yeah, around that time period in his life, just before the outbreak of the First World War. And I'm coming to the section Bloomsbury, where it goes into Virginia Woolf and Clive Bell and Vanessa Bell and Duncan Grant and Leighton Strackley and so yeah, the Bloomsbury group. So I'm really enjoying this, and even though when it gets to the discussion about economics and all that thinking, I'm monetary and banking and production and the flow of money, it kind of goes over my head. But I'm still enjoying it. So I read that yesterday, and when I was at the Book Nook, I got for my free book, this was Joseph Campbell's last book. It says, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space, Metaphor as the Myth and as Religion. It says here in the inside, originally published in 1986, The Inner Reaches of Outer Space was the last book Joseph Campbell completed before his death. Now, New World Library is re-releasing Campbell's classic in this beautiful edition as part of the collected works of Joseph Campbell. Campbell developed the book from a series of lectures he delivered in San Francisco, which included a legendary symposium at the Palace of Fine Arts with astronaut Rusty Swankhart. Here, Campbell explores the space age and posits that the newly discovered laws of outer space are actually within us as well, and that a new mythology is implicit in that realization. But what is this new mythology? How can we recognize it? Campbell explores these questions in the concluding essay, The Way of Art, where he demonstrates that metaphor is the language of art and argues that within the psychics of today's artists are the seeds of tomorrow's mythologies. Also included in this wide-ranging collection are Campbell's thoughts on mythology as a function of biology in, quote, myth and body, end of quote, in his series of essays, quote, metaphor as myth and as religion, end of quote, where he presented for the first time the fundamental summary of his pioneering work in mythology and comparative religion. As Campbell writes in his introduction, quote, my desire and great pleasure in the preparation of this little volume has been as rendering a return gift to the graces for the transforming insights of these recent years, which we have been testing out in broadly shared spiritual adventure. Now, for those who don't know, Joseph Campbell, I got this book by Joseph Campbell because I collect the writings of Joseph Campbell. I was going to show them, but then there was too many of them, and I just wasn't in the mood to drag them up here from the lower level. But it says here about Joseph Campbell, for those who might not know who Joseph Campbell is. Joseph Campbell was an American author and teacher best known for his work in the field of comparative mythology. He was born in New York City in 1904, and from early childhood he became interested in mythology. He loved to read books about American Indian cultures, frequently visited the American Museum of Natural History in New York, where he was fascinated by the museum's collection of totem poles. Campbell was educated in Columbia University, where he specialized in medieval literature. After earning a master's degree, he continued his studies at universities in Paris and in Munich. His original work, The Hero with a Thousand Faces, came out in 1949 and was immediately well received. In time it became acclaimed as a classic. In this study of myth of the hero, Campbell asserted that there is a single pattern of heroic journey and that all cultures share this essential pattern and the various heroic myths. In his book, he also outlined the basic conditions, stages, and results of archetypical hero's journey. Joseph Campbell died in 1987. In 1988, a series of television interviews with Bill Mollers, the power of myth, introduced Campbell's views to millions of people. You can see those interviews on YouTube with Bill Moyers, with him and Joseph Campbell. So I got this for my Joseph Campbell collection. Years ago, before I became a Christian, when I was in high school, and before I became a Christian, I was really into comparative religion, but haven't been for many, many years. So that was my free book, and I bought for $1 this novel by Hanif Kureishi. He's a British writer from India. This is his novel, The Last Word. I had in my library his book, his first novel, The Buddha of Suburbia. So when I saw this for $1, hey, it's only $1, and I had this already in our library. So I got those. And I've been reading the Nix. I'm halfway through it. I'm still not impressed by it. I'm kind of surprised when people on BookTube and book reviewers talk about the prose, and I don't know. I'm not really that impressed by it. I wouldn't. I just don't think it's that great. I don't know. It doesn't blow me away. I mean, to me, if I'm reading a book and it makes me, I'm reading it and I have to stop and think, wow, that's just great prose, or the narrative, it impacts me emotionally, or to me, the book is just kind of flat, to tell you the truth. I keep waiting to come across something in this novel that says, wow, this is really a great American classic. This is really a great novel. This is fantastic. This is super. This is the true American novel. Well, I don't know. It just doesn't do nothing for me. One thing else, I was looking on the writer Nathan Hill. He's on a world tour right now promoting his novel, The Nix. He's all over the world, all over Europe, all over Australia, all over everywhere, all over the United States, promoting this. It's been translated into I don't know how many languages. Also, I read that it's been considered for a TV miniseries. 2016, I came across an article that they might do a miniseries on the Nix, but we'll see. Anyway, I keep hoping it gets better. I'm still reading it, but like I said, I keep hoping it's going to just blow me away. Also, I got in the mail, I mentioned I was getting a book of poetry by Robert Lowell. This is Life Studies and For the Union Dead. So I got those in the mail. I also was going to mention that my wife went over to visit our daughter-in-law and our granddaughter Josie, Emily and Josie, and my oldest son and his wife subscribed to the New Yorker. So my wife brought home, they saved these for me, the New Yorker, and I looked through them. I like this section. One thing about the New Yorker I like, the first thing I do when I look at a New Yorker is I look at what is called briefly noted. And this is on page, this one is 71. And what it is, first thing I do is they have briefly noted our books. That's the first thing I do when I look at the New Yorker. I look at what the books that they have highlighted to read or get little blurbs about them. So yeah, I was looking at that. I didn't come across anything that I would order from Amazon. Also, I was reading this one, I think. Oh yeah, this is the one I was reading yesterday. I came across a review of this book. Well, it mentions it. This is just came out. This is a biography on the poet Elizabeth Bishop, A Miracle for Breakfast by Megan Marshall. And there's a long review and looking at the life of Elizabeth Bishop. Here, this was the issue of March 6, 2017. It's a really good article. I read it last night, and I plan to read this sometime in 2017. This is her book of poetry in the Library of America. Elizabeth Bishop, Poems, Prose, and Letters. So I got that out. Also, I mentioned Robert Lowell. He was very good friends with Elizabeth Bishop, and this is their correspondence, the complete correspondence between Elizabeth Bishop and Robert Lowell, Words in the Air. It's over 800 pages of letters. So I've been looking at these off and on as I've been going through reading about Robert Lowell. So that's what's going on in my book world. Like I said, this is a Sunday. It's a new week. I probably will go to thrift stores this week. I don't think I have any books coming in the mail anymore. I don't think I've ordered anything. I really haven't come across anything in Amazon lately either. So, but I got this to read in 2017. I'll be reading the Nix. Like I said, I keep hoping it'll really pick up and I'll be emotionally, upheaval or something. But like I said, I haven't been really impressed by it. So I suppose I will sign off and thank you for the new subscribers. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for just being out there in the book world. So I suppose I will sign off. hope you have a good week, and feel free to ask questions, feel free to comment. And until next time, bye.